Hello, guys. My name is Halfop, aka HH. Welcome to What's Classic, the weekly podcast where we try to find out whether a certain album we pick is, of course, a classic. In this week's episode, we have decided to pick Mos Def, most definitely his full name, debut album, Black on Both.
Wait,
sides.
one question though.
Yes.
We talking about Mos Def? We talk about Yasin Bey, Dante Black. Like, I don't know what he calls himself these days.
We're gonna call him Mos Def for purposes.
Let's just keep it as 1999 Mos Def, because that's when this album was released. So Mos Def.
But isn't that like calling Muhammad Ali Cassius Clay?
No, it's not, because Cassius Clay was his slave name. Mos Def is not a slave name. So the Cassius Clay thing, that I get, because that's a personal thing which I understand why he wouldn't want to be called Cassius Clay, because that is a slave name.
Was it Floyd Patterson? Do you know about boxing where like the dude insisted on calling Muhammad Ali Cassius Clay? So he purposely let that man survive just to beat him up and say, "What's my name?"
Oh yeah.
Ali was cold, man. He was cold, but anyway.
No, that's why he's the GOAT. He is the actual GOAT. So Black on Both Sides, Mos Def's album. So for this whole thing, we're going to come at it from a whole different angle. We're really going to just look at it as a whole, look at the strong points, maybe some songs that don't work, the songs that really stand out, go into detail into certain standout songs, talk about the album's impact. So obviously, but before we go into detail, we'll just go for like a bit of an overall overview. So I think for me, I believe this is a classic. I don't feel that should be undisputed. But again, we'll see what my cohorts in Tosin and Daniel have to say. But in my view, this is of course a classic. What I like about this album is that it gets stronger as it goes through. It's built up very nicely, and I think, again, as we always say, the first track sets the mood. You know, I get a bit of a Fela Kuti kind of vibe with that first track, but I think it gets stronger as you go in deeper, and what he says alongside with the production that's very organic, that has maybe a bit of a West African stroke hip-hop influence infused together, and the message that he's saying really makes you understand, this is called Black on Both Sides, because this is a direct message and a love letter to Black people, you know, fully. And just because the thing about rap is, like, it's one thing to have a message, but it's how well you convey the message. That is the true skill of rap. Because there are many rappers that are conscious rappers that are saying amazing things, but you just do not know how to effectively put it within the complexity that is writing bars and writing rap and writing it to a beat and actually executing it well. What Mos Def does so brilliantly well is the way that he has a message and the way he delivers that message, because he has a balance of being on beats, being in tune, rapping technically well, being on point, but also entering the guy's brain, and what he's saying is just so amazing. And the reason why it resonates so well is because he's married to the beat so very well, and he's such a great rapper. Therefore, the message just hits much stronger than other people. So yeah, just for me, I just feel like this is a classic, because there are very few albums that say more profound things consistently as this album does. So that's my overall view on the thing.
Mos Def, man. Most definitely. Yasin Bey. I remember like around, I think it was actually 10 years ago that I was at the House of Blues in Houston. Shout out House. Like, it's probably the dopest spot in the city for like live concerts. And I remember, like, I think I was like 14, 15 at the time. And Mos Def came to concert. Like, Mos Def, it was for a Mos Def concert. And like back then, I want to say like we were there till like 1 a.m. Most was late for most of it. And it was just Jay Electronica, man, just kicking it with the crowd. This dude was just high as fuck, man, just talking about anything. And then like some chick runs up onto the stage and she just starts jumping in front of him. I assume this chick was drunk, like, and then she just like bows right in front of Jay Electronica. And I'm just like, yo, what's going on? And Moses is just like late. He's an hour late for this whole thing. And then when he comes down, he does like a couple cuts off the Ecstatic, the Slick Rick record, Life in Marvelous Times. I think he did. He does. No Hay Nada Más. He does it the Spanish record. Then he breaks out into the one that we all know, the Miss Fat Booty. And when it got to that line, like he literally just stopped and everyone just said, "Ass so fat you can see it from the front." Like, yo, he stopped the whole thing and he just went and that thing and then oh, but yeah, that was honestly one of the best moments ever, man. And nowadays it's just that's why I don't really go to concerts, because it's like, bro, people are paying $50 to watch live karaoke. You know, it's just like that's what these new rappers is on. Like, it's not. I don't know. There's just no connection, and everyone's got their phones out. Like, it's not. You know, it's just not authentic. But that's the thing with Mos. Like, Mos is just one of those rappers. Like, back to Mos the artist. Okay, I've always felt that he's like just one of those rappers that people don't really know, but they act like they know. You know, like Andre 3000. You know how people act like, yo, they see Andre rocking like a fedora with neon green lace-up pants, or Mos rocking a flat cap, like those flat caps, and they're just it's just adoration, like founded by association with those guys. Like you people don't really know their work, but they just know that they have that aura about them, that they're just brilliant minds, like brilliant people. And looking at this Black on Both Sides record, the first time I ever got to hear this, it was when I was just rummaging through those same like quote unquote classic albums, and this was a suggestion. So, like, if my first encounter with this album, with it being stated as being called a classic, like if that's the first words I saw, like looking at this album, undoubtedly it is. Like, this album is with like hip hop is the bread, neo soul is like the butter. You know, like that's what this album is, and it's just a mixture of both. And it's just like, I don't see how people compare this to Pimp a Butterfly, you know, and all those other albums that everyone talks about. For like, this album is as black as any of them, like just with all the sounds, with all everything.
Can we talk about album art just like quickly? I feel like that's an important concept. I don't think we've mentioned except for obviously Illmatic, but that was just Tosin saying that like people kind of just copied it. How do you guys feel about just like the album art, like for like a debut album? Because I remember the first time I listened to this album, I looked at the album art and it was kind of like scary. It was just like, this looks way too realistic.
Yeah, apparently Mos Def loves his face, man. Like, I guess that's just what it is. Like,
it was just like,
yo,
you got this amount of realism in 1999. Yeah. Like, how is that possible?
I don't know. I guess look at the movies that were coming out then, like The Wood. Like there was like this kind of like, I don't know, people embracing the quote unquote new black or something like that. Like a different aura of themselves, like just more spiritual, but without the religious like tone that's with that. You know what I'm saying? Like just everyone having that like neo soul vibe, or just that corny vibe. Like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but yeah, like Tay Diggs, people like that. And this album, I don't know, like in terms of the cover art that you're speaking about, you look at this album, then you look at The New Danger, where he has like, you know, the mask over it, and then as a kid, I thought that was the dopest artwork ever. Like that just looks so like that just looks so. Yeah. Exactly, just so menacing. So this album is just him, man. Like this is Mos Def, like just top to bottom. Like that's
when Tosin says like when he first came to the album and people said it was unquestionably classic. The first time I listened ever to Mos Def was Black Star, like because when I was going back, that was the one that people were like, "Yo, you need to listen to Black Star." So I listened to that, and then I got to this album. So I'm curious, like, was any? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, Talib Kweli, "Listen" from Eardrum, that album. That was the first time I ever heard that record. So off of that record, I went to the Black Star. I found Definition, and then Respiration is my fit. It's one of my. It's top 3. It's up there with The World Is Yours. Like, Respiration is just, you know, the record I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's just, that's the peak of just like, I think that's the peak of how it gets in terms of just describing different boroughs, different cities, and just vivid detail. Like it's just the imagery that was painted from those dudes, all three of them, like Mos, Talib, and Common on that. It was just, and with the production to match and the Spanish intro, it was just, man, like that.
I mean, definitely. Well, I mean, we're definitely gonna have to review Mos Def and Talib quality on Black Star one day, because it's classic. But, like it had like Definition, Brown Skin Lady, KOS Determination. Like there's some classic records on there. But just if we're just gonna talk about Black on Both Sides, that was kind of my intro to it. Just having previous knowledge that this person is capable of listening to a classic. So when people say, "Oh, Black on Both Sides is classic," all right, let's listen to it and let's see what happens. So I guess we can get into it from there, Double H.
Yeah, I mean, so I think for me, like, if I was gonna pick like a standout track, and obviously we'll get to both. I just think the track that really stood out for me, even when I first heard it, because for me the thing that always grabs me is the beat. Like the beat is the first that really grabs my ear before I need a second or the third listen before I now look into the lyrics. But you've got to roll with track 11. Know that. Mos Def and Talib Kweli. Just as soon as that beat just drops and it goes in, just their rapping, how they both attack the beats, how the song comes together, just the
Double H. I have a question for you on that record.
What?
I have a question for you on this record. Is this where you trademarked "Stay Black"?
Yeah, that's what you know. Because when I heard about it, this is probably where I got "Stay Black" from. Because once he ends it like that, "Stay black, stay black, stay black, stay black," I'm like, you're like, wow, damn, okay, yeah, you know. So it's like, and I just think that just how he ended it like that, it just fits with the theme of what you've been listening to. That this is a love letter to Black people. So put down your Get to Die Trying, put down your Pimp My Ride, whatever album. This is something that every Black person has to listen to. So I just think that as far as if I was going to pick a standout track based on musicality, a mixture of musicality and lyrics, and just as a song coming together, I think for me, Know That would be my standout track on the album. Just basically, even every time that I listen to the album, just every time that this comes on, I just start moving my head, just the beats and everything. I just like just the flow and everything. I just love it.
You know what's interesting? I've probably listened to this album 3-4 times this week. And just the amount of words and content that is in this album. There's 17 tracks. The last track is an instrumental, but you have 16 tracks basically of just straight bars. Like there's so many words and so many concepts and things that you can dissect, that every time I've listened to it, I hear something new on top of the production, which is incredible.
The production, man, it's just.
So I'm taken aback just by the amount of words that are in this.
But also I think what is impressive as well is, like, you know, whenever in any album you're getting to 15, 16, because okay, let's be real. Okay, May December is not really a track. So really, I would say
wait. We shouldn't discount
16 tracks of rapping. May December is just music, like instrumental. So 16 tracks is rapping, and
they're all like 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Like there are, I think there are 4 5-minute tracks on here, maybe 3.
Yeah. So
but there was bars being spit.
Like whenever I see an album and I see 15, 16 tracks on a rap album, I get scared. Because I'm like, oh Lord, okay, so basically track 2, track 7, track 15, and I'm out. So that's just what I'm assuming.
Around that time, you would have probably thought that there would be, like, you know, multiple skits and all, and yeah. But that's the thing. It was Raucous Records, and Raucous Records, they weren't Raucous Records, the record label that kind of like dissociated from, you know, the bad boy, like the bad boy aesthetic, you know, the shiny suits, blah blah, and Mos Def was like the spokesman for, you know, that label. And so through that, he was the one who was like the spokesman for the underground.
Are you trying to get a copyright strike, Hefo?
That was like complete total mistake. I don't even know how the hell that happened. What the hell? Okay.
Put some headphones in, man.
Oh no! I literally pressed it by mistake, but it was by total mistake. I was just holding on by mistake. Carry on.
So Tosin, you were saying something about Marcus Records?
Like start your points again.
Yeah, he was like the spokesman for the underground. Because, like, you know, look, I hate to refer back to that album, but on Children's Story, where they have the Slick Rick thing, you know, he was pretty much going at all these, he was coming at all these bad boy type producers, you know, because that bad boy sound was what was in at the time. So, you know, Mos Def was the antithesis of that, like just the cool, down to earth, like soul brother, you know, like that's what Mos Def was like. And we might get into those other records, but like Umi says.
Okay, so basically, so let's look at, so Know That then. So your thoughts on the album then?
Know That. Man, like on this record, I just love how he comes in. Like, you know, yesterday was not for me, but nowadays it's time for me. The streets is watching me. I watch back. That's the policy. Moving along my odyssey like blood through the artery. Navigate the treacherous and make it seem effortless. Like, let those who make the exodus seek in the north beacon from blah, blah, blah. He just goes on. Like, he just, like, he just knows how to paint a story. Like, you know, and on this record, though, I have a huge unpopular opinion. Talib on this, man, he was buns, man. Like, he was. I wasn't feeling him on this, man. He's like, never disrespect a woman because I love my mama. Like, what? Like, why you equate your mama to other women? Like, just relax. Like,
oh no, bro. I'm not like, I think, look, it was again. For me, his verse didn't really set anything on light spots. I just think that it wasn't like, oh, what the hell? But it didn't take anything away from the record. But we know that's what he can do because the guy is one of the most contents, high thinking lyricists that there's ever been. But I just think,
are we ever going to do
track? No, I want to say something about Talib though. Like, look, at this same year, let's not forget, like the year after, it was 2000. He dropped with High Tech, Reflection Eternal. I don't know if y'all have heard that album.
Classic.
But they do a record, Mos Def and Talib on that one. And I think that one is This Means You. Way better record. Both of them went in like that. Way better record. Like this is a bit of a, like, it's dope for Mos's verse and the beat itself, but Talib on this, like, it was whack, bro. Like, it was whack. I'm sorry. Like, it was just whack.
No, that's a bit harsh, but there you go. Daniel, thoughts on the track?
It's okay. It's good.
So basically, I'm the only one that's really.
Yo, CC, like, so on
you
a
guys
5-star
just
scale,
taking like you guys are kind of taking all the meat off the bone. So I was just kind of waiting for when I can kind of nominate a track.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
So basically, like, see, for me, because we will definitely, because for me, I have a lot to say about rock and roll.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to just as for me as far as
we can save it. Yeah,
because I think rock and roll is a whole discussion that we can have on that, because that's, for me, it was the one where, like, I pause and be like, oh damn, this is just a regular rapper. This guy is actually like a bit more advanced than everyone else, and nobody has said what he said. But I want to just go to just save that and just really just look at the tracks. So yeah, so Daniel, so your standout track or tracks, but just give me a standout track to begin with.
Hip hop.
Okay.
I mean, after you get kind of through Fear of Man, and he kind of just lays out just kind of what his, I don't know, just the thesis maybe of the album, or just he's just talking to us. He raps a little bit, but then when the beat drops for hip hop, it's like, oh, okay. And then he says that line. It's speech is my hammer, bang the world into shape. Now let it fall, which is a callback to Pete Seeger's song "If I Had a Hammer," which is basically just kind of fixing the world of injustice and things like that. So it sets up the album for me anyway. It's like, okay, so after that first kind of intro where you're talking to us about, you know, what is hip hop, where's it gonna go? Hip hop is you, hip hop is us. Like basically suggesting hip hop as a tool that can fix the world. He then relates it to the hammer because the speech is his hammer. So the whole album is almost like we can do this, we can fix the world. So, but the beat, just the production. I don't know who produced it. Maybe Tosin would know.
Diamond D.
Shout out to Diamond D. Yeah, just an incredible opening track, I think.
Oh no! I think for me, I think as I said, like once because when you hear "Fear Not of Man," you think, "Oh, is this going to be a very cerebral, psychedelic kind of album?" But then when you now hear hip hop, it's like, "Oh, boom! No! That was just setting you up, and now we really now say it starts." And I think again, what he's saying and the message he's putting out is because almost when you see something like hip hop, you think that, okay, man, give us some of that rap thing. Talk about how great rap is, but no, when you actually see what he says, like, no, this is
I mean, when he was he
said a bit deeper than just the soft.
He said I used to speak the King's English, but caught a rash on my lips. I was like,
So now my chat just like this. Yo, honestly, also that line where he was like, where he's like, I mathematically add.
Say again.
I think where he's like, he used like the whole math scheme where he's like, I mathematically add, minister, subtract, the wax selective, will it back. I'm feeling that from the core to the perimeter black. You know the motto, stay fluid, even in staccato. Like what? Yo, what? Yo. Why don't rappers make people do that no more? The first time I heard that, I rewinded. Like what?
But again, like also this one, like he gave me like a sports reference where he was like, Olympic sponsor, the black Glock gold medalist in the back shot. I was like, ooh, okay. I was like, I'm a sucker for sports references. So like,
yeah.
So what's your standout? Like, well, just one of your standout tracks, Tosin.
I was gonna say hip hop, bro.
Sorry.
My favorite. Let's talk about Miss Fat Booty, man.
Miss Booty.
Bro, Miss Fat Booty. How many times can I say Miss Fat Booty on a Have Hope YouTube channel? Like, is that
no?
Is that we good?
Yeah. That's you can say anytime. All right. Don't worry.
In the most poetic way imaginable. Like Mos found a way to tell y'all, like, don't be Captain Save-A-Ho. Like, you gotta come different, This record, it's pretty like relatable because Mos is just telling a story about between him and a chick named Charisse, and yeah, man, like it's just a dope story, like front to back. There's the Aretha Franklin sample in the back at the start of the record, which is dope. And in terms of the relatability, like that whip stage that every guy gets into, where he's like, 3 months, she call it, I feel I'm running a fever. 6 months, I'm telling her I desperately need her. 9 months, flu like symptoms when shorty not around. I need more than to knock it down. I'm really trying to lock it down. And like Mr. Nigga, where you have that flight attendant, he pretty much switches up on him because she found out that he was a famous rapper. I kind of feel like it's similar in this record where she knew that she didn't know who Mos was at first. That's why she kind of like, disengaged. Like she pretty much disengages the first time and she rejects him. Then upon their second meet, when they meet up and his homeboy, he calls him Big Moo, like they come together and like she introduces him to him and then they act like they don't know each other. And then from then on, like that's where, things start. So just overall, just the story segment, the story part of it, like the lyrics part of the lyrical side to it, as well. And just many of the lines, man, like, I'm looking at it skeptically because Shorty got all the right weaponry. Like he's just like, there's just so many dope, memorable lines. And Mos just did it, as I said, in the most poetic way imaginable, man. Like it's a dope record.
Why do you guys think this was the first single though?
That is interesting because
it doesn't strike me as like a commercial kind of radio record.
Like basically, if I was the executive producer, I'd never have this as the first.
Because I think that's what Raucous Records was about. Like it was a different, like, look at the artists they had on their call. They had Talib, obviously.
Pharoah Monch was there.
Pharoah Monch, yeah, Pharoah Monch for sure.
Was Common there as well?
If I'm because like if oh, go ahead.
Yeah, High Tech, Big L's. They had this thing called Lyricist Lounge that used to drop, where I think there's a remix of that same Miss Fat Booty record. So yeah, Kids in the Hall, like yeah, like they have their own lane. You know, like they appeal to the, you know, the hip hop heads, so to speak. So yeah, like this being the first single. Like it's pretty much I think it's in line with everything. Like it's
because
just,
like if I was like an exec, I would go probably with like Do It Now, like especially in '99 if you could put Busta Rhymes as a feature, like that just kind of makes sense. But Miss Fat Booty, it doesn't. For me, like, it doesn't strike me like it's a great conceptual record. Like I'm just wondering why would you make this the single?
Yeah,
but I guess that record label is for purists.
It was, yeah. I guess it's the most accessible one. Like, actually, it was released as a single, but there was a side B to it with Mathematics. So he had Miss Fat Booty, and then he had Mathematics on the side. Like, so.
But it's also, I'm also thinking like you can't make Rock and Roll a single. You can't make New World Water a single. Like, you know, the type of conversations you'd be starting.
New World Water would be, that would have been a dope single.
Like, could you imagine if Rock and Roll was a single? Like, yo, he'd never get radio play ever again. Like, they would just, who is this guy? Kabosh. It would just be over. So
yeah.
For me, it's fun. I mean, it's a cool track. It's not really a track that sort of grabs me as much as the other ones, but yeah, like it's cool. It's cool, but it's not one that I would say is one of the ones that I would sort of like go back to and go on to repeat. But another one, and I think Tosi sort of mentioned it, Mr. Nigga. That's another one is a standout again for very good beats, really good beats, and the story that he tells is amazing. It's like, especially the story that he tells, which is what Tosi was mentioning, about the flight attendant, how he was treated in first class. They won't know who you are. Boom. And also about how different Black people are treated as opposed to white people, and just the double standards that are given. So this is why I just like this. It's just about it's content, but content told in a very musical way where it's on beat. So it's not just content for the sake of content. It's content, but that is still balanced with a musically good track that's on point where everything works.
Do you guys think Miss Fat Booty and Mr. Nigga are done intentionally? Like, and could they be linked where you have a Mrs. record and a Mr. record in the same album?
No.
Or is it just coincidence?
No. For me, they are completely different. I think like Mr. Nigga is directly about Black people, and I think what it talks about is a lot more serious because it's definitely talking about it's speaking especially to the African American and just the Black experience. It's almost as if Mos Def is just having a conversation one-on-one to Black people, especially those people who may not really be aware of really what's going on racially. So I think it's both. Maybe you're right, but in my view, I don't think they're related now.
No, I'm not making a point. I'm just asking. Like, if you have a Mrs. record and then a Mr. record, perhaps I don't see a link necessarily, but I was wondering maybe if you guys think that's done intentionally.
No, I would say I don't.
No, it's just
coincidence.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah.
Am I up? Yeah. My turn. Let's talk about New World Water. Tosin, I'm gonna let you go first because we even talked about this last week, but I forget the point that you made. So
the thing with Mos is that like he has this style where because he always raps about like a dichotomy, you know, like for example, like there's this record he did, like I think it was called Urban Thermodynamics, right? and he had his sister and his younger brother in the group, and on one of those records, right? I think it was called Manifest Destiny, and on Mos's verse, like this is just like when I heard this, when I was going back into listening to it, it made me understand like Mos loves to use this like dichotomy or like this thing where he pretty much lists each element in like, I don't know, just like in fine tune. You know how you think of like a Fibonacci sequence and how you see that in nature with like I don't know, like the petals on a flower and stuff like that. Like it's just insane what Mos is a mathematician with the words. That's how I see him as. Like that's, for example, like on this record,
mathematics. So you know, just
yeah, yeah. But like I don't know, it was Manifest Destiny where he's saying like on that urban dynamics record where he's like, well, if it ain't red, then it must be blue, and if it ain't false, then it must be true, and if it ain't day, then it must be night, and if it ain't left, then it must be right. Like, you know, that's just Mos, you know, like this like a New World Water record that you're talking about. I think I was referring to verse 2 when we're talking about that Lupe record in verse 3 of Hurt Me Soul, and how Lupe was just going on about different subjects, and Yasin Bey, well, Mos Def on this one, he's like on New World Water, he's like, you know, he talks about all the things you can do, all the things you can use water for. Man, you gotta cook with it, bathe and clean with it. When it's hot summertime, you fiend for it. You gotta put it in the iron you steaming with. It's what they dress wounds and treat diseases with. The rich implore black and white God need for it. And everybody in the world can agree with this. Like he just keeps going and going. Like it's just that's the point I think I was making last week. But yeah.
Yeah, like I found this kind of like a critique perhaps on capitalism in some way, where he was like, it's free, but now you got to pay for it because it's all about getting that cash. And then he goes like, Johnny Cash, Rosen Cash, give me cash, cold cash. Like
he sounds honest. He sounded so Nigerian in that. You know, like, give me cash. Like he's just because it's all about getting that cash money. So it's all about getting cash money. Like the first time I heard that, I was like, "Yo, is Mos Nigerian?" Like, yo, like
money.
Money.
Do you know, like half of referenced the first track sounded like Fela.
Exactly.
It sampled him.
He samples that. Bro, I've sampled it like that drum break. Yeah, that Fear Not for Man Fela record.
Yeah, so maybe he is influenced in some way by like Afrobeat, like the old Afrobeat.
Oh, bro, those oh yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead. Like the Soulquarians, I'm sure you were going to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Like they were all influenced by Fela's records and just this like whole new sound that they were trying to innovate. So you know they went into Electric Lady Studios, and that's why we're going to talk about rock and roll, because that was the record that introduced me to Jimi Hendrix. Like, funny enough, like that's the first record that I heard. I was like, "Oh, who's Jimi Hendrix? All right, I'll be playing Jimi Hendrix to dawn." And so, off of that record, like, and doing just all my research, because I became like, you know, I started to love Jimmy's records. So I looked up like I think it was called Electric Lady Studios, which was a studio they had back in New York. And I think it's still on today. I can't remember. But from like 96 to 2002, you had Questlove, you had D'Angelo, you had Common, you had Erykah Badu, you had Bilal, you had Q-Tip, you had Jay Dilla, obviously. Then you had Talib, then you had Mos. And they turned Electric Lady Studios into this like hub of musical innovation. You know, they drew inspirations from their surroundings. And even that studio, it hadn't had that much activity for a while because, you know, Stevie Wonder, David Bowie, all those people that had recorded there, you know, just music that they've done to create, like, you know, records like Music of My Mind, Talking Book, you know, Superstition, like those types of records. They were all there just laying dusty. And D'Angelo was like, yo, this studio, it just has it. We're with the spirits, man. The spirits are calling us. Like, you know, there's a spiritual connection here. And Mos, I'm pretty sure that's where he recorded a couple of these records, man, like for sure. Because Mos has an ear. Like, he's a very musical dude. Let's not forget. Like, what do y'all think about Mos Def singing? I actually wanted to ask y'all that. Like,
I was gonna reference that, especially if we ever got around to, is it The Climb or just Climb? Like, yeah, where he's singing with I can't even pronounce her name, but
Vinia Mojica.
Vinia Mojica. Yeah. All right. I was if we ever got that, I was gonna be like,
bro, she was on a Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory, where Q-Tip shouts her out on verses from the Abstract.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Vinia Mojica. So yeah, she's probably been around with them type dudes, but yeah. That's
yeah. So Double Ace, how do you feel about Mos Def singing?
I think that it's worked better on Umi Says than it did on Climb.
Like, it's functional singing. Like, I won't say it's bad.
No. Like, see, that's the thing, and I think.
But I
know that you made the point about J. Cole trying to sing, and when J. Cole does, it's like, no, you're actually really singing, and it just doesn't work. And I think that because there is something quite interesting about somebody like a rapper who can sing, who still tries to sing, and there's a way that it can work where you know the singing isn't good, but if it's done in the right way, it's not working, still works, but you have to find
like you hear the personality in that voice.
Like, if it's too clean and too good as but if sort of like when people just say, look, like, well, what's it called? There was on a skit, I think it's called Rain, on Capital Punishment, Big Punisher's Punisher's debut album, and on one of the skits, I think it's Dead Prez.
The Rain in the Sun.
Yeah. And he says, yo, Big Pun, like sing. I just hear Big Pun but he says to him, like, look, Big Pun says, no, I can't sing, but he then says, no, it doesn't matter whether you can sing or not. It's just about getting your soul on your thing out of it. As long as you just put your soul on your thing out of it, you just sing, because it sort of just brings that kind of soulful inner energy within you. So
yeah, even like, you know, Biggie, when he did Player Hater, that's a dope record to me. I enjoy that. Like, you know, it's all about, as you said, like,
yeah, just I mean, basically for me, like in Climb, it's cool. It's not, I'm not like, oh, it's cool, but I just think Umi Says works really well. Like, I like that.
Me too. Yeah,
I just really like that. I just like how that's just done. You know, that works really well for me.
And you know, he didn't write anything. He was just in the booth, just go. He went full jazz with it. Just
freestyle. Okay.
Sang well. Yeah, he just went with whatever. You know, and it came out like the instrumentation, everything is just lush. Those Fender Rhodes in the background, like, it's just dope, man. Like, I think Kendrick used it too in like The Heart Part 1. I think he used that same instrumental. I think I could be wrong, but yeah, you can correct me on that. But yeah, just Umi Says though, incredible.
Oh no, really good. Basically,
how do you guys feel about the tempo of the album though? You guys feel like there may be too many kind of slowish songs?
For me, I mean, basically, I think it has a vibe, and I just basically, again, how we go to track listing. Like, for me, it builds up very nicely. I think that, like, it's sort of like a slowly build. By the time you now get to sort of like track 11, then 12, 13, 14, it then really picks up. So I just think that the first half is a bit slower, a bit just building up, and I think in the second half you have the much more higher, quicker tempo tracks. But I just think
because like Umi Says is a very like, it's a mellow track.
Yeah.
Like, it's not slow, but it's mellow. And to me, this obviously, like, Low End Theory and kind of those Tribe records were done in the early 90s. But for me, it feels kind of like one of those. But those albums were 14 tracks. I think Low End Theory is like maybe 50 minutes. This is like an hour 10. So it's like, can you really do a whole record of this? But as you say, like the tempo changes the further you go. I think he could have cut out a few records here or there, and it would have been
like
better.
Which records do you think he could have cut out on this album?
I think he could have cut out "Got."
No way! Are you crazy?
What?
What the hell?
No, are you crazy?
You
are wilding.
I'd agree. New World Water, okay, but God, are you crazy?
New World Water.
Yes.
Can't cut that out. Speed Law. Speed Law.
Bro, how can you talk about Tribe Called Quest?
You can't get me. Give me a break.
I've heard it done better. So why would I need you to do it? Like, come on, bro. You can cut out Speed Law. You could probably cut out
what?
Got, and they're good tracks. So they're obviously gonna be good. Maybe Habitat. But after because you already talked about Brooklyn, so those would be my three. But obviously you guys disagree. So what would you do?
Man, if I were to cut out any tracks from you, it would just be Do It Now. That's it.
Can we talk about Mathematics?
Let's do it.
Yeah, well, DJ Premier again. I think he produced this one. I'm not sure.
It definitely sounds like a Gang Starr beat, if you know what I mean. Like I could hear Guru on this quite easily.
For sure. Again, man, what he says, boom. The guy just hits you with just numbers, content, and just forces you to reflect. Basically, it's one of those tracks where you've got to listen to it like multiple times. And obviously, Premier producer, you could listen because he says a lot of stuff in this. Like even after you listen to the first time, like, damn, okay, you could just go to rewind and again, it's just hitting you with facts. And then the key thing about it is that this is pretty much the last track. Like this is the last rapping track. So, and again, a common theme that we have with this thing is track listing. And I think it's very important because again, who knows when this was re-recorded or anything, but I think it was very conscious that he wanted people to end with this. So the last rapping track they had was this, Mathematics. So, and this has to coincide with the message he's trying to get out there, because it is very important the track you lead with and the track that you end with. And you can definitely see a correlation between Mathematics and hip hop, in my view.
How do you get through all this content, and there's just so much? This is deep. Like, this is actual deep. Like, no disrespect to J. Cole fans out here, but like, the rapper, I know y'all talking about his singing, bro. He's not only not a good singer, he's not a good rapper. Like, either.
Whoa.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not feeling it. He's fake deep to me. This is deep. Mathematics. This is deep. Like, in the first 4 to 8 bars, he's already talked about the project prison industry complex. He's talked about the solar system, the 9 planets faithfully keeping in orbit. Obviously,
wait. So can I ask? I hope this isn't like you having beef with mixed race people, because if it is,
no. What? Lord have mercy! Like.
Tosa was sound mad disappointed. Like, what?
But
you like Drake? No, wait. Let's investigate. Do you like Drake?
I don't.
Look at it. We are building evidence. Who else is mixed race out here?
Bro, come on, dude.
Who else is mixed race? You like Logic?
Oh man, how can you add? Hell no.
Another mixed race.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, look, totally. It's probably, come on. 3 out of 3.
That's not true.
3 out of 3, bro.
True.
3 out of 3.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? Right?
Okay. Name a mixed race rapper that you like.
Man. Lil Skies.
You can't.
No what?
Oh wait, AZ.
AZ is mixed
AZ.
with?
Yeah, he's half
what?
Mexican, I think.
No. We're talking half white, half black.
Man. Immortal Technique. I mean,
He's half white.
He's half and half. Yeah.
Is he?
Well,
I always thought he was Mexican.
Peruvian.
Mexican, Latino, or Latinx. What is that? Why is that? Oh, okay, never mind. Fuck it. I understand. Damn, Tosin. How are you this racist, bro?
Bro, I picked him out. I already told y'all. I gave y'all rappers.
Yo, I'm actually surprised you don't like J. Cole.
He's just not my cup of tea.
But
man.
Do you know what? This is the perfect time to have this conversation because there is no classic J. Cole album and there is no classic Drake album, so we're never going to be able to talk about them.
Yeah. At least we got that out the way for you listeners. Sorry.
People are going to be mad heated. Drake has a classic album. Take care, classic.
No, for me, I would still argue, for me, like, I don't know whether I can call it a classic, but I think we can make an argument for what's it called? Thank Me Later. That's a bloody good album.
What?
That's sorry, bro. That's going straight to the recycle bin. Like any file.
Bro, that album has Up All Night. Shut It Down.
You made us listen
Fancy.
to and Lick and told us that was a classic. I've still not forgiven you for that.
Lupe go hard. See, Lupe is up there as well. So
bloody.
Do you know what? Have hope. Are you insane? I'm just looking at the album the track listing for Thank Me Later. You can't. No, there's no argument to be made here. This album has Over, Up All Night, Fancy, Shut It Down, that interlude which is horrible, Find Your Love which is trash. There's five good songs on here out of 14.
Is like what? But like as we've seen even with the tracks that we've listed and just even from previous albums that we've done, that thing about music, it hits you instantly. What you call trash, I call amazing. What I call trash, you call amazing. So it's like, and that's the thing about music is like, I can't force.
What I'm saying is objective fact.
What?
What I'm saying is fact. Like, there's no opinion to this.
It isn't though. If it was objective fact,
if you think,
but no, Half Hope. No, I'm not gonna let Half Hope get away with this because you called Kaka a trash football, not trash football. You said he wasn't great, and then you said this is an opinion, this is fact. But now when we get to music, all of a sudden niggas can't have facts and opinions are.
No. You see, music is different.
Stop it, bro.
No. See, there is no in football is X's and O's. Music is one of the most subjective things.
No, it isn't.
No, would you listen to Friday, like, or
Rebecca Black?
Yeah, would you put that on? Like, we can. Is that subjective that someone should like that? Like, bro, that's just.
But what I'm saying is like there's music that basically from what we've already done already. There's tracks that you guys have loved that I think are trash, and there's stuff that I think is amazing that you think is trash. So it's like when we did that Jay-Z album, I think there was a track that you guys said was amazing. I said, nah, sorry, it doesn't do it for me at all. And that's just thing about music. Like in football, is about how many goals I've scored, how many dribbles do you make, how well do you do at this game. But in music, it's like I can't explain why Soundgarden is an amazing band. I can't explain why I think Linkin Park or these guys are amazing because I just like the music. I can't give you a detailed thing, but I can tell you a detailed analysis why Kaka is overrated. I can explain that to you. Like, I can't explain to you why an album is great if you don't like it. If you don't like it, I can't make you understand why it's good. It's impossible.
But okay, that's true. That's true. Like one person can have a one-off opinion. But if there's a consensus around a particular album and you say there's a conversation to be had about Thank Me Later, that's in your opinion. But if we're talking about in the overall grand scheme of music, the general consensus, you can't bring me Thank Me Later. Like you can try, but most people are going to tell you no.
How can you even try? Like, thank me later.
Toasty,
like,
you can't. Toasty, you said Food and Liquor is a classic. You can't.
Food and Liquor. Food and Liquor is
most people would say that Food and Liquor is classic album. Nobody is bringing Thank Me Later to the Drake classic album argument.
I've never heard a single person even mention Food and Liquor in the same breath as.
That's because you live in London.
What?
You live in London. How big is Lupe Fiasco like in the UK?
Do you know that I'm older than both of you guys? I grew up watching MTV, UMTV Raps, and all this.
You're saying that like you're 50 and we're 20. Like it's a within 5-year gap with me anyway.
So you guys are telling me that Food and Liquor has been mentioned in the same breath as Illmatic, The Chronic, 2001, Doggy Style. Really? Are we really saying this?
No. But you're saying Thank Me Later should be.
I don't know. I said no. I said that somebody
should
can
be in the conversation.
You'll probably lose the argument, but I think somebody can present the arguments.
They can't though. They can't because it's. We will be stuck here. But just quickly, if you want to bring a Drake album to the argument, you bring Take Care or Nothing Was the Same. Those are the two albums that you can bring to me, or just to the general. Like you could bring those to the floor. And we could have a discussion, and I would tell you why they are.
Man, this is about Mos Def, man. Why are we bringing Drake to Mos Def?
Yeah, like I was about to go back to that. I love Action Bronson. How many? There are a lot of dope rappers up.
Action Bronson is not mixed race, is he?
He's white.
I don't hate. Why would I hate mixed race people when I like black and white rappers?
It's a joke. Just chill, okay?
I know.
But anyway, no, that we got to Drake because we said Tosa hates mixed rappers because he didn't like J. Cole because J. Cole's fake deep and Mos Def is really deep because we were talking about mathematics.
Exactly, and just going into this, he talks about 7 firmaments of heaven and hell, 5 dimensions, 6 senses, 8 million stories to tell. The Tribe Called Quest reference. 9 planets faithfully keep in orbit, even though Pluto isn't a planet anymore. But then I don't know, man. He just touches on so many things.
Pluto's still a planet.
I got.
Okay. I don't care. I don't care what the scientists say. Pluto's still a planet.
Yeah, but he's like I got 16 to 32 bars to rock it, but only 15% of profits ever see my pockets.
Like 69 billion in the last 20 years.
20 years spent on national defense, but folks still live in fear. Bro, that's just what? That's 4 bars. And what is he's packed in like 2-3 topics just like that, like with ease. Like,
but then like those next bars where he's like, what he's saying? I think like something like half of the cities in America are like 1/4 black, and that's why they gave
Ricky Ross all the crack.
16 ounces in a pound, 20 more to a key. 5-minute sentence hearing, you're no longer free. And there's something about like cell phones or something that comes next.
40% of Americans own a cell phone, so they can hear everything that you hear when you ain't at home
or something like that.
Yeah. I guess Michael Jackson
and then he said,
right.
What did he say? I guess that's why Michael Jackson was right. You are not alone.
Yeah. that was that killed me. But yeah, bro, like look at all the top. He's just talked about, the industry, how shady the industry is, like in terms of percentage profits. He talked about
crack in the hoods,
crack in the hood, era. Exactly. He talked about the
government spying on people.
Exactly, spending on national defense. He talked about the fact that Americans are still, the whole world, especially in the Western Hemisphere, are still addicted to their cell phones. Well,
and this is 99. This is 99.
And this is 99, yo. This is 99. He's like a prophet
in that way.
This is a timeless record. This is
and also, you know what? I also wanted to mention this when we were talking about New World Water, where he's talking about climate change. Climate change also, like I think I only mentioned the capitalism part, but there's climate change as well. And this is 1999, before maybe Al Gore was talking about this kind of stuff. Before the 2000 election, so maybe that was in kind of the public conscious at the time. But yeah, just if you go through there's so many things that he picks on And that's why we could sit here for probably 4 hours and talk about it. But you guys want to get to rock and roll?
Yeah,
let's go.
All right, Have Hope. I'm pretty sure you have all the thoughts, so you go first.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is again, I believe this is one of the most important tracks ever made, especially for Black people, because this track is about sort of understanding the artistry and the creativity of Black people. Because the thing about Black people is that there is a slave mentality. Black people don't actually know how valuable they are and the ridiculous creativity and what they've actually offered to the world. And the issue with Black
not just
is
the music,
that they don't know how to appreciate themselves. So I think it's to do with obviously the kind of pain and everything they've gone through slavery and everything. There's this whole thing of looking for white acceptance, which is why one of the most painful things that I saw was how when they interviewed James Brown and he said, yeah, Elvis is the king of rock and roll. And I'm like, mate, do you know who you are? Do you know what you are? But even James Brown himself, because of the deepness of slave mentality and just the trickery that
no,
wait. Let me land. The trickery that white people did is like James Brown still felt himself that nah, man, Elvis is the king of rock and roll. It's not me. Like James Brown still felt like he wasn't as good as an Elvis. So what Mos Def encapsulates in this is that there is no my rapper for blacks and rocker for whites. No, whatever you see through rock, its genesis, its seed began from blues and rock and roll that was led by guys like Chuck Berry, Jimi Hendrix, and so forth. But
it's a big gap.
Thing that Mos Def just trying to say is to understand that the machine is trying to create a narrative, and it is trying to erase the history and and how blacks have formed the foundation of popular music. They have formed the foundation of popular music comes from what blacks did, and I think I was even watching this program about how people were sort of like defining what pop music is, and pop music always seems to feel like it's those white boy bands and it's the final kind of white music, but really pop is sort of like popular music. And back in the 50s, 60s, popular music was the blues. Those are the guys that made music that was so popular. But the guys, whether it was a Sinatra or an Elvis, came from there. Rolling Stones, they came from there. And as I said, Rolling Stones never came with a style of their own. Elvis Presley never came with a style of his own, which is what Mos Def says, because Elvis Presley got his stuff from blacks. Black people wrote his music. Rolling Stones, they were 1000% inspired. The whole music was fully inspired from the blues. So the message that Mos Def is trying to get to people, which I still think to this day, blacks still don't get, unfortunately. Hence why they still want to prop up Eminem as the god of rap because of slave mentality. But the message trying to get across is know your value. Understand your value.
Yeah.
You know, because if you don't understand your value, you will be erased. And they will tell you that you're not that good, and they will rewrite the history for you if you're not careful. You know, so that's why this track is so important on so many larger macro levels. You know,
yeah, I would
first
go.
Thing I want to say though.
Yeah, but I was gonna let Tosin go because you I think you wanted to respond to the James Brown point.
Yeah, like I just want to come. First of all, respect the Godfather. Like that's that's disrespectful.
He was
man.
just trying to sell records, have hope. You know, he was
exactly. He's a company man. That's all he was just being, the company man. Because
he was
let me just say this about Elvis.
But we understand why.
It's not bro. No, it's not. Look, Elvis Presley wanted everything James Brown had. Okay, he wanted to perform like him. He wanted to do soul music. He even asked James Brown for his band so that he could have them as a backup for when he went on tour. Like he wanted to do everything like James, bro. So Elvis knew who his dad was, bro. He knew who his daddy was, bro. And James Brown, he just looked at him as like, you know, we cool, but we ain't that cool. But I'm gonna let people think that we cool, but we not that cool. You know, like that's just what that was. But going back to what record were we talking about? Yeah, rock and roll. Yeah, this record is just like I said, like I told y'all, like I discovered a lot of artists off of this. Limp Bizkit, Bad Brains and Fishbone, Jimi Hendrix. The first time when he was like, "But I don't be trying to fuck." The first time I heard it, I thought he says that he does fuck with Limp Bizkit. So I listened to it. I was like, "Yo, what is this garbage?" Like,
is it like they have like hot dog water or some shit?
Chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
Hot dog flavored water. I'm looking at you sad. I have hope how quickly you knew that shit.
Oh no. Look. I love that album. So
I knew it. I knew it.
I love that album.
I knew it.
Because basically I have a lot of personal history to that album. Like it takes me back to a very specific place in my life.
Bro,
so.
I feel you on that, but
he was fucking white women back then.
Yeah. You had way too many white friends, bro.
We went co-ed. In that year, we went, so it was all boys in our year, so we didn't have any girls in our year. So.
Oh damn!
What was your white homeboys introducing you to? Evanescence, like grunge.
Oh, I hated Evanescence, man.
Back then, it wasn't like Evanescence. I remember like, damn. I remember somebody tried to get me to listen to like Avril Lavigne. I was like, yo, if you get the fuck out of here with that shit, man.
Bro, I can't front though. The one pop rock band that like I had, like it was a guilty pleasure.
Green Day. He's gonna say Green Day.
Nah, bro, that shit was garbage. Yo, Green Day is garbage.
I don't listen to that shit. Or like, I'm just trying to guess what you might say.
Look, no, The Fray.
Oh yeah. How to Save a Life, yeah.
Exactly, like those records, like off of Grey's Anatomy and stuff, like Cable Car, like those were just like good, feel-good records, like you know.
Let's see, like I was more on like the Coldplay type shit back then. So,
no, see, I tried to get into Coldplay. It's just like when they got
that was just like my entrance into white music, really, like Coldplay, and then that led me to Radiohead, which I do want.
Radiohead. I love Radiohead.
Radiohead is amazing. So.
I love Radiohead.
But yeah, can I not act like I was woke my whole life? The first time I heard this record by Mos Def, I didn't understand it. So I was like, "What the fuck? Like, why is like when it switches to rock music at the end? I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I wanted to skip. I vividly remember the first time I played this album, I didn't understand the kind of the message underneath it. I was just listening to it, just as kind of we alluded to before. I don't really listen to the words; it's more the music. So the beat's okay, and then it just switches to rock music. I was like, what the fuck is this? But then, as I've kind of gotten older and done more studying things, I understand the meaning of what he was trying to do, which gives it a different level. So so once I learned about Chuck Berry, once I learned about Little Richard, once I learned about Sister Rosetta Thorpe, or Thorpe, it might be. Once you learn about those kinds of black people who were the pioneers of rock music, when you hear about the Claptons, the Jaggers, the Beatles people, when they came to the United States, it's like, y'all don't listen to Chuck Berry? Y'all don't listen
to Muddy Waters? You don't listen to Muddy Waters?
Like the British UK rock artists were like, yo, like y'all, you guys don't listen to the originators, y'all listen to Elvis and Johnny Cash and those kind of guys, but you don't listen to like the originators. So like once I kind of peeked that,
they wanted to be them. Yeah.
Then you go back and listen to this, and then it just bleeds into Half Hope's point, and I don't necessarily need to kind of retread that. But yeah, I just think it's a very important record.
My one gripe with this record, those last 30 seconds for the sake of my ears, and the first one is where he's like
kind of go with the rock a little bit too long, bro. Like we get it. Like,
yeah. But the way it was like, you may dig on the Rolling Stone. Like I think he's like, Kenny G ain't got no soul. John Coltrane is rock and roll. You may dig on the Rolling Stones, but they can never ever rock like Nina Simone. Bruh.
He just needed to want that rhyme.
You wanted a rhyme. You needed a rhyme so hard. You needed a rhyme so bad. At those last two lines, bro. Like, come on, bro.
Nina wasn't rock. God bless our soul.
No. But does he mean it in that term, or does it mean it in a more philosophical term, as in rock based on just the kind of flow and energy you have? He may not have meant that as
it could
like
mean that. It could, yeah.
Yeah. So no, basically,
it could mean it could mean like it might mean like rock the show, or like you couldn't perform. Who knows? But maybe he didn't mean rock like the music.
But with the way the instrumental flowed and everything, you would have
Like when I heard it, I didn't think that he meant you can't do rock and roll like so. I just went, no, you can't. You don't have the same kind of energy on stage, performance-wise, as Nina Simone.
So do we think? Well, no, I actually have another point. Do you guys think that the metal section, kind of at the end of that record, do you think that was like, obviously he did it to make a point, and you choose that message because it's so contrasting to the rest of the beat that it makes you go, whoa, what is this? And then you kind of have to understand the point. But that wasn't the rock that Barry, Richard, Tharp, Muddy Water, like that wasn't like, that sounds more like metal than the kind of traditional rock and roll that would have been there in like the 50s.
That's why he did it, because the reason why that is so important that he does that is reminding people that that's energy which obviously white people sort of do. It's originated from black people.
Okay.
So him doing it is like, it's just reminding people that we can. A black man's voice is still there. Maybe you've changed it, but the origins of it was taken from a black man. So it's important that he did it in that way, because when he does it, it's like it is shock value, because it is so removed from the energy of the album, and so removed from the energy of what you'd get from a rapper and a rap album, that it does shock you, like, oh geez, this is like punk rock, what the hell? But it's different because it's like punk rock but done by a rapper doing it. So from an artistic point of view, it's very important, and which is also what makes it perfect, because this is such an amazing track from an artistic point of view, based on how he's rapping, the way the beat is, and how it ends, because everything is on point and has to make sense, because it's a message of what he's saying, how he's saying it, because he's talking. He's not doing it in rap, it's like in speech, and then him doing the whole punk rock thing to end it. And also you have to do, because that's the energy needed to make the point. You have to shout. You have to.
Yeah. I was wondering if like it was just more to contrast. I also have one more thing that I saw earlier this week. Did you guys hear? There was a clip that was going around. I think Bob Costas, who's like a sports announcer but interviewer apparently, he was interviewing Ray Charles, and Ray Charles kind of went in on Elvis. He's like, man, Elvis ain't shit, basically, in like the most Ray Charles kind of way. So it linked into that point. I was like, oh, so this is kind of serendipitous in a way that we're going to talk about this record. And there's a clip going around the internet of Ray Charles just kind of going in on Elvis, like, man, he went real like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I mean basically the whole Elvis.
And Bob Costas was shocked. He was like, what do you mean? That Elvis, it was just he was really trying to probe to get like Ray Charles to back off his comment.
The whole thing about Elvis though is like that Elvis is such an important thing for certain white people, because what Elvis represents is like, hey, we can do it too. We finally found one. Because the thing about white people in those days is that they couldn't help it that these blacks were just so talented. As much as they hated them, they called them niggers, they called them Negroes, monkeys, and everything. They're like, damn, this music they make is bloody amazing. If you could just find one. Which is why there are such strong parallels between Elvis and Eminem.
Talk about it.
But
I'm not the worst. He said it like to do black music so selfishly. He let y'all know.
My point is that the difference is that Eminem is actually good at the craft. Elvis wasn't. Elvis doesn't have any talents. he was untalented.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't go that far either.
I would. I think when I look at Elvis, when I look at him dancing and what he's doing, and like this dude, I feel is untalented, man. So, no. Basically, as a young kid in Nigeria, when I saw Elvis for the first time, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was like a comedy skit. I was like, what is this like a guy doing dress up? I was like, oh, this is real? Because I thought it was like for a joke. I didn't think it was real. But I said, no, this can't be real. But my thing about it is that there are parallels because white people wanted to create this mystique that Elvis was the king of rock and roll. Yeah, he's the king, he's the king. Totally disregarding what Chuck Berry and all these other guys did. Same thing with Eminem. They want to try and create this whole mystique that he is the king of rap, the god of rap, and just disregard all of the KRS-Ones, the Rakims that came before. And that is so dangerous. And the fact that because blacks still have the slave mentality and they still seek white acceptance, that is why guys are rushing for the acceptance of Eminem, which is why James Brown said what he said about Elvis Presley, because as much as we love James Brown and as talented as he is, he did want acceptance from whites and from Elvis Presley. That's just.
You guys know about James Brown's like the situation with his estate? If you don't, I won't go into it, but it's pretty interesting. You should go read about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But look, I said like no, very important track, and I think for me definitely one of the standout tracks on. Wait, which track is it that he mentions Woody Allen?
Mr. Nigga.
Oh, there we go. Again.
Yo, he was on like the Me Too in '99.
Yeah, way before. This is '99, bro.
This is '99. He was like, yo, he married his stepdaughter. His nasty ass nigga. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's just.
And the thing about it's like a lot of people probably didn't know. So him mentioning this now is what got people to say, oh, Woody Allen, and then got people knowing, because I think if he hadn't mentioned it on this album, a lot of people wouldn't even have known. So,
yeah, but do you know how like
him mentioning it on this album?
Do you know how like Hannibal Buress made the joke about Bill Cosby, and that's what brought it back up, and then like Bill Cosby was then removed from the paint? Like, what is it going to take for Woody Allen to be like officially removed? Like, people have been talking about this at least for the past 20 years.
He's white, and he makes movies that a lot of people like, and he wins Oscars. So it's not going to happen, bro.
Like, okay, I know about this like on surface level. So he raised his stepdaughter, then broke up with his wife, and then married the daughter that he raised.
I don't know. I'm not trying to get myself in trouble.
Like, ugh.
Yeah, look, let's get back to Mos Def. Like, look, man,
that's the weird shit.
So no. Look, I said again, like as an album, man. This, I don't know. For me, this album, it's like just listening to just what this guy. I struggle to think that there's another album from top to bottom that has so many nuggets of important information for a culture than this.
So is this like a Bible of sorts?
Yes, it is. I don't think any other album, like in many other albums, you may have like a track or a 3 or 4 tracks that may have this. Pretty much every single track on this is saying something deep and profound. I don't think there's a song here that's just like, hey man, this is the party track. You know, this is just the show off track with my ride and everything like that. So it's like, that's why the album name and the album art is so important and works well, because the album art and the album name 1000% coincides with what the hell he's talking about throughout the entire album. You know? And I think, which is why after this album came out, Mos Def was held with such reverence that, this guy is a step apart from everyone. Which is why when you now see what he was going through, becoming Yasin Bey and everything, it's made sense. Because he's just different. He's just not like every other rapper. Like he's real. He really is that guy. He really is real. Same thing with Talib Kweli. Talib Kweli is really that guy, as in he's really real. So it's not an act. So when you meet him and when you talk to him, Talib Kweli is really that kind of guy. As people have said, Yasin Bey is really that guy. He thinks about this stuff. He does this stuff. He's what this is what he's about 24/7, not just for the album.
Do you know what? I guess we'll probably eventually get around to doing "To Pimp a Butterfly" by Kendrick. that album to me is like it's incredibly dense. Like everything he talks about, maybe not everything, but most things he talks about, because there's songs like These Walls or whatever that like it's not that deep. But every song has a meaning behind it or a message behind it. And sometimes when I get albums like that are politically charged and they're definitely trying to say something, to me, it's like, who are you to be telling me about these deep things? Like, if I really want to know about geopolitics or climate change or whatever, I'll just go read like an actual book or do a little bit of research on it for myself. So sometimes it makes me like To Pimp a Butterfly. Like, it's a great album, but sometimes I don't want to listen to it because I'm like, is Kendrick, like, has he done the requisite research really? Or is he just kind of saying things that anybody could just kind of look up and it is what it is in that sense? But when I listen to this, it's kind of the same concept of like, this is incredibly dense. If maybe I should just go read a Wikipedia page instead of listening like to this song or whatever. But I feel like Mos Def has done the requisite research and has the kind of the wealth of knowledge behind him to where it's actually credible. And I find that's not to slate Kendrick, obviously, because I don't know. But just this, I get the sense of a well-learned, studied person who just so happens to be really, really good at putting words together and got the chance to make an album and make music. And he just gave us what was on his mind or just things that he always wanted to talk about or had always been studying. So I find that's something that gravitates me towards this album more than something like To Pimp a Butterfly.
But see, what I'd say though is, again, I love To Pimp a Butterfly. Like, I bloody love that album. But again, maybe this is a hot take.
It will be.
Kendrick Lamar, I don't think, is a great rapper. He's a great musician. I mean, sorry. He's a great artist. Sorry, that's the word. No, he's a great artist. As far as the technical thing of rapping, he's good, really good. He's not amazing. But as far as constructing an album, he's amazing. But then the difference between To Pimp a Butterfly and this is that Pimp a Butterfly, it's quite difficult to listen to that back to back, front to bottom, just how he structured it with the transitions and everything. But I feel that because Mos Def is so much more of a superior rapper, and the way he's saying, because I think the way that Kendrick says the message is more sort of artistic and a bit left and right. So people can say, "Oh, this is very highbrow and everything," but how Mos Def is hitting you the message is very direct.
He gives it plain. He gives it plain.
It's like it's like if he's just talking to you. Like Kendrick is sort of like talking to you from like a high pulpit or something. It's like if Mos Def is like saying to you in your face, like in the same room, eye to eye, next to you in your face. So you can't even ignore it. You have to be like, no, this guy's just talking like a regular guy. So it's, for me, it hits a lot harder.
Yeah, like I would, now that you mentioned, like,
yeah,
go ahead, Tosin. You haven't spoken.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that. Oh shit! What was I gonna say? Yeah, in reference to that, To Pimp a Butterfly, For Free, like records like For Free, Hood Politics or Mom, like Kendrick was spitting on that. He was spitting, but the thing about Black on Both Sides is just it's more organic of an album while touching on those same topics, and like, I don't know, with Kendrick, as you said, it's as if he's like preaching to you from a pulpit, and that's the problem that rappers have. Like, do they know when to toe the line between being like giving out giving out information versus just being preachy,
like preachy,
being preachy, and that's kind of what you kind of get from To Pimp a Butterfly on records like I don't know How Much a Dollar Cost or. Yeah, Complexion, like those records, it's
a dope record though. Like I don't want to make it seem like it's trash. Kendrick says too much. Like no, I actually appreciate that he tries to put some medicine in the candy, as it
like
were.
The Blacker the Berry. That Blacker the Berry.
He's an amazing artist. Amazing artist.
No, I have to say this, man. Like this is an unpopular opinion, but like The Blacker the Berry. I listen to that nowadays. Like that, it's just cringe. Just a cringe verse, like by Kendrick on that. Like, I listened to Good Kid, Mad City. I'm like, this didn't age well. This is I don't think this album really aged well. It just didn't. Like, it doesn't sound as good as it did in 2012. Like, it just doesn't. And then
bitch don't kill my vibe. It's still a vibe.
I get it, but see, that's the thing. Like with Kendrick, how many classics does he really have? Like, we got to discuss that.
No. Look, it's still recent. Like, we can't call it a classic until like at least 10 or 15 years have gone past. I was called. This came out in '99. We're like 20 years afterwards, so we can definitely.
You know, this album still hasn't gone platinum.
No, but that's the thing. The first time I found this album, though, 2009 or 2000 around 2009, 2010.
People were already calling it a classic. So
people were already calling it a classic. So
things can be instant classic. Double H. Like this is why I said Jay-Z earlier. 444 is an instant classic. Like, I don't need to. It doesn't need to age 20 years.
An instant classic
classic.
Look, we will get there.
You don't think the first time people heard My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, you don't think I'm going to be listening to this for the next 30 years?
That is not a classic.
And you are smoking crack.
I am not smoking crack, bro. I'm sorry. That is,
please. I cannot wait until somebody.
One of the most. So, can someone pick that? Can we actually?
Please.
We need a tag team on that album. We need a tag team on that.
Blasphemy! I've heard about this. This has been compared to like Michael Jackson's "Off the" like Chris Rock.
It's ridiculous.
This is as good as or better than Thriller. Are you sick in the head?
Like, obviously, Chris Rock was in the album, so obviously he's gonna feel a way about it. Obviously, that's going a bit too far. But you know,
it's not a classic, bro.
We will eventually get.
They sift too much. They sift way too much.
I want to start with College Dropout, and then we can move to Late Registration, and then we can move on. Let's start with that. No,
not a Kanye week. No, that's so cringe. We're not dedicating all this to Kanye. Hell no, dude. Just pick. Someone pick My Beautiful Dark Twisted. Let's go on that first. I'd imagine that we'll revisit.
Wait. Basically, we'll get there. Trust me. Once
we need to start with people's debut albums. I think it's only fair to start with people's debut albums. If they're considered classic. So the Illmatics, the Reasonable Doubts, Food and Liquors, Black on Both Sides. Like, I think it's only fair. Like, to jump to someone's fifth album if they have a classic before, that doesn't feel right to me. But it is what it is. I do have one more point that I didn't reference earlier. Is Mos Def, just the name Mos Def, is that the best rap name moniker ever?
No.
Like what is the best alias for someone's rap name? Because I would say that Mos Def is the best.
Dante Black.
That sounds trash in comparison to Mos Def.
Dante, I don't know. I just love when Mos calls himself Dante.
For me, I think Immortal Technique is a pretty interesting name.
Immortal Techniques, that's good.
That's
so
good,
weird. But it's like too many syllables, you know. Like Mos Def.
I mean,
very simple, very plain, and he is actually like Mos Def. Like
no. Mos Def is definitely it's definitely up there.
Wu-Tang?
Like Jay-Z,
no, Jay-Z, no.
Like it sounds good because I've heard it my whole life. So there you go. Like,
Method Man.
Method Man, that's okay. That's okay. Ghostface Killer. That just sounds cool. It sounds cool. Like I'm just going through like Wu-Tang, like Old Dirty Bastard. Like
since now that's the most interesting name is an ODB. Like that's the most unique rap name I've ever had.
But
Waka Flocka.
Waka Flocka. It's interesting. I actually have a question about this. We can just get into rap names quickly. I don't know how much time we have, but how do you feel about like Rick Ross stealing the Rick Ross rap name, or 50 Cent stealing the name 50 Cent from like the actual 50 Cent? Like, do you guys think that's like cool? If you just take like a criminal's name?
It just exposes what they are. Like they the feds. They the feds. Like, yeah,
50 Cent ain't the feds. 50
bro, he is, bro. He definitely.
Bro,
he's
all right.
Posting. I'm not sure about 50, bro. I'm not sure, but I don't think I trust that dude.
Do you know what? Yeah, okay. Does Rick Ross have a classic album?
Yes.
What?
I'm Not a Star. What's that record that had I'm Not a Star? Teflon Don.
Teflon Don? Are we gonna call that? Okay, it might be. 50 definitely has one. So we can get to that.
No, we
Give
don't.
Rich or Die Trying is classic.
Sorry.
No, it's not.
No. Give me a break. When
See,
like,
let's go.
Okay, just
see,
pause,
these are the classics
pause,
we need to start talking about. Let's come to the 2000s. We've done enough 90s.
You guys are tweaking, bro. You guys are tweaking. We've had in this podcast. Thank Me Later should be considered potentially classic. J. Cole can't rap. Kendrick To Pimp a Butterfly could be trash. That was me. Or just could be laborious. How about that? What did Tosin say about Good Kid, Mad City? Good Kid, Mad City has an age well. Now 50 Cent ain't classic. Get Rich or Die Trying is a classic, and My Beautiful Twisted Fantasy is no longer classic. Is this really what we're saying? And Have Hope listens to Lip Bizkit.
Wait.
Lord have mercy.
Wait, Daniel, you said that Get Rich or Die Trying isn't a classic, or is it?
It is a classic, 100%.
Yeah, no. I said it is a classic. It's this Nigerian boy that said it.
All right.
I think let's just wrap it up.
No. That's what.
All I wanted to say was Mos Def is the best rap name. Now, to the moment of truth.
Oh yeah,
Tosin. I'm going to start with you, as to kind of grade the album. So, Mos Def, Black on Both Sides. Rank it out of 10. What are you going to give it?
10.
Tosin gives it a 10. Double H, you nominated this album. Mos Def, Black on Both Sides. Rank it out of 10. What you got?
9.
9. And I'm going to give it a 9 as well. My reasoning behind why it's not a 10 is it's kind of long, and it kind of gets slow in spots, and that would lead me to give it an 8. But then I give it the extra point because just the content of it is just, you can't deny it. So
okay. Well, my reasonings are like there are a few tracks that could be lost. It just starts off a little bit slow, so I can't just give it like a perfect thing, because I just think like there are a few tracks that could have maybe been on the chopping floor. But again, the content, the production, the consistency of the content, and just how profound and just how powerful some of the tracks and things that he says means that it has to, at the very least, be given the 9 out of 10. So,
Tosin, you got any reasoning behind the perfect rating?
Why is it perfect, Olga?
Look, man, listening to this just always gets me pumped. Can't front, like, you can just tell that this has a classic feel because there's a Dilla influence. There's like even the albums that came after this, like like Water for Chocolate, which is Common's best album in my opinion.
Resurrection,
Resurrection.
That's his third best album. Stop
the Roots. No, what? It's actually his bro. It's his best. What are you talking about?
B is number 1. Resurrection is number 2, and then you get like Water for Chocolate.
You're just a Kanye stan, bro. No, B is like third. B is third.
No. Like, B is first because that's Kanye trying to be Dilla. Then you get number 2 with Resurrection. Then you
have fucking Dilla on like Water for Chocolate. You don't. Why you need Kanye trying to be Dilla when you got Dilla?
Because it's like a mixture of the.
I don't need Ye. Get Ye out of here. But no, okay. Back to Black on Both Sides though. Just all the albums that followed this, like you could just tell that they were inspired off of Moses' sound, like, and just his sensibility as an artist. He can not only can he rap, he's poetic, he's dense, he's just an incredible writer. And the fact that when he sings also, like, bro, like, personally, I love Mos Def's singing voice. Like, I think he should do more of those cuts. And it just sucks that his fan base weren't receptive to it, like on True Magic and The New Danger and all those other albums that people consider filler in his discography. But
I'm just later I'm gonna nominate The Ecstatic because I think that's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, bro, that's a classic. That's a classic too.
But you know what?
That year when The Ecstatic and what album Q-Tip, The Renaissance, when those two albums dropped.
Is that the one where he's holding the MPC?
The MPC? Yep,
yeah,
bro.
That one's
those are classics. They're classics. Like, and they still sound timeless today.
This would have been like the perfect 9.5.
Well,
we don't do 0.5s around here, man. It's one or the other.
That's what I was gonna give it 9.5, but I was like, fuck it, just round it.
I haven't listened to Ecstatic, so I'm going to listen to this because you guys claim it's a classic. I haven't listened to the album before, so
yeah.
You see, but this is always the thing about classic albums. If you come into it with no expectation, I listened to the Ecstatic like the day it came out, basically, probably before, because I probably got it on the leak. I didn't know what it was going to be. And then I listened to it and I was like, ooh, like this is really, really good. Once you put in someone's mind, this is classic, they're expecting like perfection throughout the whole album. So now your experience in listening to the Ecstatic is going to be, these niggas said it's classic. Let me see if it's classic. And then if there's like one bad spot, you're like, oh, what were these guys really saying?
Wait, but can I say this though? I believe that we'll go through all the albums and I am going to put money down. The only perfect score we're going to get is Illmatic, I believe.
Well, that would be because you would only give it a 10. Because I'm pretty sure Toast and I will agree that 2 albums will be 10 out of 10. So you'll be the odd guy out who will always give something an 8 or a 9 or a 7 because it's not Illmatic. So like you could probably, like one of us could say there will never be another classic album because we'll just never give anything a 10. All right. So are we going to decide what album is for next week?
Yep.
Or no. See, I'm stupid. I'm acting.
Daniel,
I'm acting like I'm the host, which I'm not. So do you want to have like closing thoughts on the album, or have we already kind of done?
We already did with.
Okay.
No, we give a closing thoughts. We give a random thoughts.
All right. So next week's album, Toasted. You were right. There's a little bit of pressure here. You know, we've shown love.
Have like a mini list or something.
You know, we've shown love to New York. We've shown love to Chicago. I think we need to go out west, guys. I think we need to go out west. So the next week's album is going to be, and I have 3 in my head. It could be Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style, but I'll save that. It could be NWA, Straight Outta Compton. It could be that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the OG. We're gonna do Dr. Dre, The Chronic. So that's gonna be next week's album. It's gonna be our introduction to Snoop Dogg and all that good stuff. So
I'm gonna be fully honest, guys. You may not like what I have to say, but I'm gonna be fully honest, man. All right.
So I guess we're not gonna get a 30 out of 30 next week. But we'll see. Dr. Dre's The Chronic. Everybody listen to it. Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you guys get your music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The internet. All these albums are probably on YouTube. Just because, they are. So Dr. Dre's The Chronic. That's the album we're going to listen to next week.
All right, y'all. Peace.
All right, man. Peace, guys. Peace.